First, we have to go in details the different components. So first is the understanding timeline. So we know the timeline organizes and controls the contents of the mouse in layers, frames. So by default, the timeline appears below the main document window. Here is the timeline. Below the main document window, here the timeline appears. Okay, and however, you can place it at any point. It starts from here. So you have to click and drag to move the timeline. Drag the title bar tab. Here is the title bar tab of the timeline. Click and drag it. You can move it anywhere you want to start. Here, so this is the way we manipulate timeline. Next is layers. So layers can be or imagined as a transparent sheets mounted on top of each other on the stage. So on the stage, these are known as the transparent sheets. On every sheet, transparent sheet, we can add one object or have one object. So layers let us organize and manage entire work by separating the content of a movie into manageable sizes. We can draw and modify the objects of one layer without affecting the objects placed on another layer. And also layers can be used to change the order of the objects. Graphics in the higher layers appear on top, and graphics that placed in the lower layers will be at the bottom. So when we open a new animation document, it only has one layer. As you can see, only one layer. Here is your layers panel. Layer 1 is the default name. We can create more layers to organize the content of a movie. We can also hide or show or lock or unlock the contents of a layer. So here is your layer panel. Here is the show or hide layers button. Here is the lock or unlock layers button. And here is the show all layers of the outline, this button. So these are the three buttons. Now let's see how to add new layers. So we can add a new layer by using this of the common method. First method is to click on the insert layer button. So click on the insert layer button in the layers section of the timeline. Here is a insert new layer button. Click on this insert layer button. You see one layer is added. Or you can use the choose insert timeline layer. Insert menu, timeline and layer. These are the two ways. Third way is right click on the layer name and then choose insert layer option. Right click on a layer name and choose insert layer option like this. Okay. These are the three ways to get a new layer. To delete a new layer, first method is select the layer to be deleted and click the delete layer button in the layer section of the timeline. Say I select this layer, this is selected, and this is the delete layer button in the layer section of the timeline. This is one way. Another way is drag the layer to be deleted to the delete layer button. Click and drag the layer to the delete layer button. This will also delete the layer. Third way is right click on the layer name and choose the delete layer option from the shortcut menu. Select the layer, right click and delete layer button from the shortcut menu. Okay, so these are the three ways by which we can delete layers. Now renaming a layer. When we insert a layer, after that we can rename it. To rename a layer, simply double click on the layer and name and type in a new name. So double click on the layer name and now give a new layer. Say we give the layer name as say background. Okay. Click outside. The new layer name background is created. Hiding or showing layers. We can hide the contents of a layer so that you can easily work on the contents of other layers. To hide a layer, click on the I column. Is the I column. The right of the layer name and a cross symbol appears in the I column to depict that the contents of the layers are hidden. And click on it again to show the layer. See, if you click on, this layer will be hidden. Cross mark is there on the layer name. Okay, and if you click on again, it will be unhidden. So this background layer is hidden and layer 1 is shown. If you want to wish to put this also on shown, click on there it will be again shown. So in the same way, the toggle button is there. You can either hide, you can either show. Then locking or unlocking a layer. We can lock a layer to prevent any kind of modification that can be done on that layer. To lock a layer, click on the lock column to the right of the layer. Here is the lock column to the right of the layer. Okay, you click on it. You see both the layers are locked. A lock appears in the column. In this column, the lock appears both in the background layer and in layer 1. The lock appears. If you click on again, this layer 1 is unlocked, but the background layer is not unlocked. It is locked now. So in this way, we can hide or show, lock and unlock, insert and delete layers. Changing the order of the layers. Now we can see here the background layer is on the top and the layer 1 is at the bottom. If you wish to change the order, so change the order or the top of the layers, graphic in the bottom of the layers. How we can do it? By dragging one or more layers to the desired position. Here if you want this one as at the top, click and drag it. Then layer 1 will be the first and background will be the second. So this is the highest layer, this is next to it. So this layer will be at the background of this layer. So in this way we can change the order or arrange or rearrange the layers. So as you can see here, there are 4 different types of layer in the background. The first layer is the tree layer. Then the next one is the grass layer. Third one is the hot layer, and the sky is the last one. In this way, 3 layers are there, and whatever layers are locked, they can be locked like this. Then only you can modify on the other layers. It is not possible to modify. As you can see that here, as you move the mouse pointer, you can't do any brush effect there. The current layer tree is locked or hidden, so you can either like to unlock and unhide like this. So you have to make it either unhide or unlock, then only the layer will be modified. So now you can write on the layer since you have unlocked the layer. In this way, to modify any layer, you have to first unlock it, or you can lock it so that the modification may not be done. So next is our frames. What is a frame? So let's see. The frame is the basic unit where we define the behavior or the change of the object properties for creating an animation. An animation consists of multiple frames. These frames, when played together in a sequence, create an animation effects. So frames are represented as grids of boxes in the timeline, like this, grids of boxes in the timeline. You see, we can see already some frames are there in the timeline, and this red marker is called a playhead, and this playhead is moving. The playhead moves from left to right through the frames in the timeline to display the animation. You can check the for current frame number and the frame rate for the timeline in the status bar. The frame can be of the basic types. First is a blank keyframe. Blank keyframe is represented by a hollow empty or a hollow dot in the timeline. So blank keyframe, empty or hollow dot in the timeline will be there. Okay, like this, empty or hollow dot. So blank keyframe. This indicates there is nothing in that layer. As in this layer number 8 and 9, so this is blank and hollow keyframe. There is no content in the layer. This is normal keyframe. It is represented by solid color, solid dot in the timeline. In dot you can see solid dot is there in the timeline. Next is property keyframe. It is represented by black diamond in the timeline. When we come across these frames, we'll have motion tuning. When we do motion tuning, then in place of this dot, there will be a diamond shape here when we do motion tuning. Next is a type is a white frame. This is a frame with no content on the layer. See, this is a white frame, no content on the layer. Layer number 8 and layer number 9, no content. So it's a blank keyframe. Keyframe is a content with content on the layer. See this tree, grass, and heart. These 3 are gray frames, gray in color because they have content. Tree have content of the tree object. Heart has heart object. Okay, and grass is also having a color on some part of the frame. So that's why these are all gray frames. Blue frame, it appears when we do motion tuning. So we will do motion tuning later on. A collection of blue frames is called a twin span. So how we do motion tuning, then you will come across this blue frame. And green frames with an arrow, it appears when you do shape tuning. So when we do shape tuning, then also green frames with an arrow will appear. So these are the types of frames.